Behind the car. On your knees. Down on your stomach. Hands behind your back.
We got two in the car.
Okay, there's a car pulled back for this.
I'm gonna go on this side so I can get a better angle.
No.
No.
You know whose car that is?
Yeah.
Whose car?
Who? What do we do though? Do we do anything?
There was a black teen, police, and a rifle. Put up the picture full mask. An officer in Maine decided to point a rifle at an innocent teenager during the teenager's lunch break. According to the cop, claims, well, he matched the description of a suspect. And this description has, led to this particular pointing of the rifle. Now, police in Maine spent almost 5 months refusing to release the body cam footage. At least 10 officers detaining a 16-year-old black high school student at gunpoint. And, claiming that he simply matched the description of a 19-year-old kid who was wanted on burglary charges. Let's go back to the picture again. Okay. So according to the police, this 16-year-old looked like a 19-year-old. The 16-year-old who was on lunch break looked to be, criminally suspicious, according to the information. The boy's mother said that the two looked nothing alike, aside from their skin color. The two looked nothing alike, aside from their skin color. Quote, I've now seen a picture of the suspect they were searching for. My son does not look similar to this kid beyond the color of their skin. I'm going to give you the details leading up to this. So events leading up to the detainment, South Portland Police, joined by officers from the Portland Police Department, they were planning on serving a warrant at a home near the school to arrest a 19-year-old who was black, named Miles Hibbard. He was wanted on burglary charges, according to the official report. A 16-year-old student, the 16-year-old student was a passenger in a blue car driven by another student. When he stepped out of the car and began walking on the sidewalk, which was when an officer in a patrol car spots him, when it became evident he was not the suspect they were looking for, the officers released him. Okay, so the South Portland Police Chief, let's put him up. His name is Daniel Ahern. Old Chief Daniel said his officers did nothing wrong, stating the following, quote, upon review of this incident, including dash-mounted camera footage and body-worn camera footage, I'm not sure how we could have or would have done anything different given the information we had at the time. Meanwhile, a friend of the 16-year-old child was handcuffed, watched the situation unroll, and called the boy's father. Quote, we first found out when we first found out when one of my son's friends called my husband while the incident was happening, saying that my son was on the ground in handcuffs and rifles pointed at him. Miller said in an interview with WMTW TV. But Miller insisted her son did not match the description of Hibbert, who she says was wanted for stealing cologne and shoes. Now, that part of the narrative gets us to, in my opinion, the crux of the whole thing. Burglary suspect, dangerous, 10 armed police officers, gotta get them. So much so we need to be aggressive here, guys. We need to point rifles and hold individuals accountable who may match the description. We're talking about a serious, dangerous individual here who stole cologne and a parachute. Who stole cologne and a parachute. That part. Now the chief, according to him, all black people basically look alike. Don't know how I would have done anything different here. If I was there myself, I reviewed the footage. You see, that's called not holding yourself, your cops, and your agency accountable for the mistake made. You know, hindsight is something, isn't it? It is supposed to give us an opportunity to mature, to expand our consciousness, to explore remedy, to implement solution. Not to say we made a mistake and we don't give a damn. We would make that mistake again. That is not why you have hindsight. Now, in this case, somebody could be dead. What if the 16-year-old would have feared for his life? What if the 16-year-old would have made a sudden move? And one of the cops said, oh, I fear for my life, and so I shot and killed him. But he was never a suspect. He was never the person. But the question to me also is this: why send 10 armed cops to anyone because of cologne and a pair of shoes? Now, despite the chief's confidence, his officers had done nothing wrong. He refused to release the body cam footage to the media, claiming it would interfere with, quote, criminal law enforcement proceedings and a, quote, juvenile intelligence investigation. That's according to WGME-TV. Miller, an attorney in Portland, has stated she is considering taking legal action against the police. And we do hope she finds that opportunity to do so to effect justice here. Senator Turner, thoughts on this?
Yeah, I agree with you, Doc. Hindsight is a hell of a thing if you use it properly.
That's right.
So yes, all black people look alike. This is a saying that has been floating around our community for generations because we already know how this goes. This rerun that runs in America over and over again, black people are totally hip to it. The other part of this is what you said about a petty crime. That doesn't mean that we're excusing the petty crime. It just means that you don't come guns blazing, barrels out for somebody that stole shoes and a cologne. They got to check themselves out. Maybe they don't have some real, another level of crime or levels of crime to really deal with. And they're wasting the taxpayers' dollars. Let's put that right there. Totally wasting taxpayers' dollars. And as you said, if the chief was so confident, then he would have released the footage from the beginning. And the mother's point about looking at her son, looking at the suspect and saying they look nothing alike. And then oftentimes black children, my last point on this, because I'm just very upset. I'm thinking about that could have been one of our children. And nobody wants their child to be approached like that. But I'll put that in the parking lot. Black children are always seen most of the time. Let me just say 99% of the time. They're described by white people as older than what they really are. There's a science to this. There's a bias to this. And it reminds me, Doc, of Tamir Rice in Cleveland, a 12-year-old boy who was shot within 2 seconds of police officers, getting on the scene at a playground. And when the officer who shot Tamir Rice was questioned, he said he thought 12-year-old Tamir Rice was 20.
Yep. And there you have it. And this bias permeates beyond police culture.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's the reason you have to implement training in sensitive public trust arenas, because that bias is innate and comes into the agency that the person works for. All right, we'll keep you updated.